When you think of the Mark IV Supra, what comes to mind? Does this clip come to mind?
We tried to stop him, but off he went.
Or maybe this clip comes to mind. Actually, no, I know what comes to mind. This is the clip that comes to mind for all of you.
I like boys!
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to expose the average Supra fan. But regardless of which one of those came to mind for you, it doesn't fucking matter at all in the slightest. What matters is the fact that we're talking about the Forza Horizon Supra and how it has changed over the years. You'd be surprised that a car that has barely received any visual updates to its model or customization has had quite a bit of change throughout the Forza series. So we're going to be looking at that. From its performance in actual racing, its sound, its top speed, and even its performance figures. I think we start this video off with probably the more interesting part, and that's the sound of each Supra. So I'm gonna pretty much just play the clips here all together from Horizon 1 through 5. I don't know if I have Horizon 2 here. If I don't, then oh no. But Horizon 1 through 5, at the very least, we'll be hearing every Supra. So yeah, here's all the clips. So between all that, personally, I think Horizon 5 sounds the best for having multiple exhaust options that you can do on a Mark IV in the real world. Okay, and that's out of the way. Performance. Performance was the biggest pleasant surprise. Now for me, I just picked a track that looked like it would have a decent amount of like tight turns, some high speed turns, and some straight high speed sections, or at least one high speed section near the end. I only did B class, A class, and S class. And I will say that across the board, B class felt a lot better than I thought. Well, it felt good in Horizon 1 and 3. I didn't do Horizon 2 because, again, Horizon 2 is only on my Xbox. So between Horizon 1 and 3, B class felt fine. It didn't feel bad or good. It was a very off meta pick. It felt okay. It simply just felt okay. We'll come back to A class though, because I have some interesting things to say about that. The S class Supra in Horizon 1 and 3, it kind of just felt like A class, but not as good. Especially in Horizon 5. In Horizon 5, they let you build it out to be a straight up power build if you really wanted to. And it feels horrendous in that way, in S class at least. In Horizon 4, it was not exactly the same thing, but Horizon 4 Super and S class didn't really feel good to me either. I didn't really like any of the S class Super builds in Horizon 1, 3, or 4. Well, at least in Horizon 1 and 3, it felt like kind of like an off meta pick that could compete, but at the same time, are you really going to do this just to be different? But the class I skipped earlier, A class, things got interesting in A class. A class in Horizon 1 actually felt good. It felt like it could genuinely be something that could compete. Horizon 4 felt more or less the same, but again, it was in Horizon 4, so it didn't feel too great. It was just kind of there. Horizon 5 surprisingly felt the same way. Despite the cheating AI, A-Class Super didn't feel too bad. But now, where the Super really shined in terms of on-track performance was Horizon 3. The A-Class Horizon 3 Super that I built at least felt so good to drive. It had a good amount of grip, acceleration was actually good, and it felt like it turned when I wanted it to, and if it lost traction, that was simply because I just pushed it too hard. The A-Class Mark IV Supra genuinely felt good in Horizon 3, and of all the cars I tested throughout all these games, Horizon 3 Supra in A-Class felt the absolute best. So in terms of on-track performance, I think Horizon 3 hit it out of the park with the Supra. They made it feel actually relevant. Now that we got that all out of the way, I think it's time to give my final opinion on each Supra. Looking at the Forza Horizon 1 Supra, I initially thought it was like an afterthought in this game. Based off of purely memory, I thought like, oh, the Mark IV was bad in performance-wise. It didn't make as much power as the older Supras. It didn't handle as well, it probably wasn't even good at drifting. But I was pleasantly surprised when I came back to Horizon 1 and actually drove the car and experienced it instead of making my opinion off of memory. And I'm very glad I did, because I found out that the Mark IV Supra is way more just fun to drive and use in Horizon 1 than I had initially ever thought it. The racing side of it actually felt good, despite me finding out that apparently it was not on any like type of charts for like the fastest car in any classes at all. But it still felt like this was a car that I could compete with against people in other built-up meta cars. It was also nice to find out that the Mark IV in Horizon 1 actually sounded good. It sounded like a Supra. I thought I remembered it sounding terrible. Like, that sounds better than what we have in Horizon 6. I think that in the only place that the Mark IV falls flat compared to all the other Supras in the franchise is its horsepower. It is limited to 850 horsepower, the same way it was in the motorsport games. And I guess you could see that as kind of like a bad thing in a way. Personally, I don't really like that it's limited like that, because realistically a 2JZ will make way more power than that based off of the parts that we put on it in the garage at Dak's garage. And then drifting feels great in this car. The Supra feels phenomenal for drifting. In a game with no actual tuning, it feels very good. It feels a lot better than I initially thought it was gonna feel. So I was very pleasantly surprised with that, and my ability to drift in Horizon 1, since I've hardly drifted in that game. I'm gonna give the Mark IV Supra in Horizon 1 a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think it could be much higher if it had a higher horsepower figure and a higher top speed, but those are things that really can't be helped because there's no tuning, so I can't tune my gears and my final drive. But yeah, that's where the Horizon 1 Supra places for me. But the Horizon 2 Supra. So let's get some positives out of the way. Well, I say that as if there's negatives. There's not a lot of negatives. It's the Supra in a Horizon game. The Horizon 2 Supra got its horsepower figure bumped from 850 to 1005 horsepower. Alongside this, Horizon 5 had the ability to tune your cars, which means you could tune your final drive and your gears. This gave the Supra the ability to hit 260 miles an hour, 270 in the top end if I remember correctly. And that was sick. And of course, having the option of all-wheel drive swapping the Supra was there. And along with the tuning menu and all that, you could really fine-tune the Supra to be very good at racing, I would imagine. I wouldn't know because I didn't drivetrain swap any of my Supras during my testing because I'm not weird. As a whole, I think the Horizon 2 Mark IV Supra was a net positive, and it's actually better than the Horizon 1 Supra. I think the Horizon 2 Supra deserves a very fair rating of a 9 out of 10. They did absolutely amazing with this car, man. I just love what they did with it. Now, the Horizon 3 Supra was honestly, it felt more or less the same. Like, obviously it drove a little bit better because Horizon 3's physics are different from Horizon 2's physics. But as a whole, the Mark IV in Horizon 3 just kind of felt more or less the same in my opinion. So there really wasn't much of a huge change there. They both still have the 1005 horsepower cap. Unless you have the Forza Edition Mark IV, which allows you to hit 1100 horsepower if I'm not mistaken. I believe it still carried the same top end around like 270 or 260. So as I said, not much really changed with it. So, well, other than the sound, I do think the Horizon 2 Supra sounds way better than Horizon 3 Supra, which that's going to drop it down to an 8.5 in my opinion. Well, if I put it on the 8.5, that means it's at the same level as the Horizon 1 Supra. Okay, fine, I'll drop the Horizon 1 Supra down to an 8, a solid 8 out of 10. And next is Horizon 4. And this is where the Supra, they just went all in with the Supra. The biggest two things to change with the Supra. So the first change that was very good for Horizon 4 with the Mark IV Supra was this horsepower cap was increased to 1600 horsepower. I don't think you understand. This is a 90s JDM sports car that starts with 320 horsepower and you can build it up to 1600 horsepower. That is insane. But the Supra just became way faster. It was way more competitive for drag racing. There's open opportunity for insane power builds. Drifting felt, oh shit, I hope no one died. Drifting felt a little bit easier in the Supra because there was more power, so it's easier to kick those rear wheels out. As a whole, the Mark IV Supra and Horizon 4 took a lot of huge steps forward. But at the same time, it unfortunately did take a lot of huge steps backwards when you look at its exhaust note or listen to its exhaust note. In my opinion, it sounds more like a Subaru Boxer. A Subaru Boxer is what it sounds like. And I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but the Subaru Impreza's EJ4 Boxer sounds very different from the Toyota's 2JZ GTE. So a huge fumble and honestly the only bad sounding Supra in any Horizon game. Now, let's talk about the Horizon 5 Supra. Now, from Horizon 4 to 5, the Mark IV Supra did unfortunately catch a nerf. Now, I hope you're sitting down because this is a pretty big nerf that I don't think a lot of people realize to this day. So this nerf from Horizon 4 to 5 was that the Horizon 5 Supra got 2 horsepower removed off of its maximum horsepower figure. Yes, I know that is correct. Now instead of making 1601 horsepower, it can only make 1599 horsepower. Yeah, I know this was brutal and it was very uncalled for. I don't know if the Supra was ever the same again after this. I'm just kidding. It can still hit over 275 miles an hour easily, even with a big rear wing. I'm pretty sure it can touch 280 without a rear wing. It was still an extremely competitive drag car, especially with Horizon 5's much better physics. Honestly, for drifting, I don't think it was that crazy of a drift car in my opinion. Like, yeah, you can smoke up your tires very easily in it because 1600 horsepower. But in my opinion, I don't think the Mark IV Supra is all that crazy of a drift car in Horizon 5. While it was one of my favorites and it was the one I learned how to drift on in that game, it just doesn't really feel that special drifting that car, you know? The sound was the biggest improvement because all 5 or 4 of the exhaust options that the Supra has, they all genuinely sound like Supras, or at least what you'd assume a Supra would sound like. But I think Horizon 5 did absolutely amazing with the Supra in terms of sound. I mean, they have that slightly more throaty 2J or straight 6-cylinder sound, and then they have the really high-pitched throaty 6-cylinder sound from a Supra, which is very nice. I'll give the Horizon 5 Supra a solid, I'll give it a solid 9.5, purely for the exhaust options, and I guess it did bring in a wide body kit, which I personally think is very ugly. The only one thing that's keeping it from being the best in my opinion is the fact that we still don't have the TRD wing for it. That's literally all that we're missing from a Supra in this game. Now that makes us look towards the future, which is Horizon 6. In Horizon 6, we already know the Mark IV Supra is going to be there. Its model has not been updated, but I personally don't really care. What I really wanted was more customization be added to it, but it looks like it's just carrying over all the same customization from Horizon 5. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but it seems like we're still getting our favorite high horsepower 90s sports car back in Horizon 6, and maybe even better than ever this time around. I've already heard what it sounds like. I personally don't think it's the best sounding Supra they could have ever made. I do think it can sound way better if they do something like what Horizon 2 sound, but then they keep the incredibly loud exhaust note. But I really do look forward to driving the Mark IV Supra in Horizon 6. I know, it's a super generic pick, and it's a very popular pick, but sometimes something is popular just because people love it, people like it. Something's popular for a reason, and some things are very overpriced without good reason. If you made it to the end here and listened to my whole autism talk about the Supra and Horizon games, I just want to say thank you for staying here for, what was it, like, 20-15 minutes? I don't know how long this video is going to be. But thank you for being here for this. If you did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. I do plan to make another video, 2 more videos actually, based around the older Horizon games. One about Horizon 2 and a goodbye Horizon 5 video. Okay, it's future me here in the process of editing this video. I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't know if I'm gonna make that Horizon 2 video. I can probably try to squeeze it in between the 11th and the 14th. Because the thing is, I do have a little vacation coming up with some friends, and I'm going to be out of the house for a week. So honestly, I think only the goodbye Horizon 5 video is going to be made, because I am for sure going to make that video. But yeah, back to whatever stuff I was saying at the end here. So yeah, if you're still here, again, thank you. Think about subscribing, because when Horizon 6 comes out, I'm going to be doing a lot of content on that. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.